Good morning. This is Alana. I don't know if you can hear, but the birds are singing. I am still in a short sleeve shirt, and while it is January and 52% of this country is underneath snow, we are on fire. So, spring feels like it has sprung. And in honor of that, let's do a little picture. Let's do a little something, something. Today we're going to talk about Imbolc, which is a pagan festival for the coming of spring. So I have got a sketch that I'm working off of. I'm going to play around with actually carving out some fun shapes for my canvas, the paper I'm going to use to paint on. And for the information I'm going to be giving to this video on Imbolc, I'm actually going to be reading through one of my favorite books that I have, as well as from a really wonderful, it's a blog essentially by a woman that has done a lot of research in this area that I have not done, nor will I be delving into. But yeah, I smell spring. I feel spring. I am very excited. I've even got my California Poppy shirt. Kudos to the gentleman that had all the same size as me and got rid of all of his clothes at at his local flea market. So thank you, dude, whoever you were. But yeah, let's get started. Before we get into the goodies, which is the sketch and the paper, let's talk about citing sources. So I'm going to be talking from the wonderful Lori, her website, Lori Shields Brown. She's at mabonhouse.co. Ignore the zillion tabs. I have a million more and a million other ones. By ones, I mean windows. But then also, I'm going to be reading through this wonderfully crafted book from Tashkent called The Library of Esoterica's Witchcraft. Let's get a little bit of editing by Jessica Hundley, Pam Grossman, designed by Thunderwing, forward by Pam Grossman. Thank you, Pam, in all accounts. So, Imbolc, we're thinking about the Wheel of the Year. We're looking at the beginning of spring. This is all very much a love letter to Brigitte, also known as Saint Brigitte's Day, because the Christians love to steal things. No judgment, just statements. So I wonder if I can flip it and if you can still see me. We'll see. I'm hoping. I'm praying. Let me get my little footstool for my foot. So I will be reading from these two various sources throughout this video, just because if people have done wonderful work, I'm just going to give them all of the credit that they're due and then give you that information as best as I possibly can. So now we can get started. So we're at the point where I have to have another piece of paper to cover that page, because that page absolutely cannot be seen on the internet for not safe for work reasons. But this is sort of what I was thinking of. I really like to do shaped canvases, or shaped, we're going to just call that a canvas for the sake of brevity. But we all know this is a piece of paper. But because where I live, we are so well known for the California poppies and the poppy fields, I'm actually going to cut out, I want to say like 2 or 3 poppies for each side to flank the edges of this canvas, and then have the poppy stems and maybe even some roots like rooting down out from the very bottom. So we'll see how that goes. Image herself of Brigitte, who is the light bringer. She walks in spring, births forth. We'll get more into it when I'm doing the actual voiceover for all of this, but I really wanted to have her absolutely almost bursting, and then have her belly almost be like the sun, the rays of the sun bringing the light back to the cold, dead earth. So that's where we're gonna go. And then there's all my goodies. Oh, this edge, I don't have a tool to make this, so in essence what I did is I flipped this over. I did one side and then the other, and then that works great. Looking at this now, I think, wow, I've had this for well over a decade. I got this when I first started college. You can see my little eyeball, which I've been drawing since I was like 10. Okay. All right, focus, focus, focus. If there were an Olympic sport for precise cutting, I would like to be a part of it. I'm doing a lot of it for a different project, and so I feel like I'm grade A. I can do this pretty well. It occurs to me that you might not know the difference between a California poppy and a European poppy. So I immediately think on The Wizard of Oz with the poppy fields. You see those big, beautiful red blooms. That is a European poppy. That's a British poppy. A California poppy, much like this shirt, which is from a garage sale. It's not from, I forget, but this, you know, a lot of my, everything I own is secondhand. So this California poppies are the most beautiful shade of orange. They are very, very delicate when it comes to their petals. They are very sensitive to temperature. If you see, let me see if I can just swipe you over. There's a difference in whether a poppy is closed versus whether a poppy is opened. And it has everything to do with the actual temperature because they're sensitive. They're sensitive guys. I understand that for sure. But I think botanically speaking, you know, they have a lot of the same interior parts as it relates to the seeds that they create, as it relates to, you know, the mycelium that they form with. But very much there is that difference of color and that difference in how they curl up versus open, depending on if it's warm or if it's cold outside. In the state of California, they are a protected species, so do not go picking poppies in any specific spot that is monitored. And when I say that, I mean, we have the poppy fields here. So, you know, that is a place where, you know, people go and they trample on them every year, but they don't get ticketed for trampling. You do and can get ticketed for picking. So just prepare yourself if you come to LA County and you're going to go look at the poppy fields in the spring, which is when, you know, if you want a little bit of a breakdown on how poppies work, this is your breakdown. Skip forward if you don't care about this. But over the winter, poppy seeds actually need a harsh frost in order to break up. And that harsh frost usually occurs between December and February. And so in order for the seed casings to break and then to allow the poppy itself to germinate and then to grow, usually in late February, early March. Now, it has not been cold. It has been horrifically warm for months. And I hate it here, if we're being honest. So I do not know what our poppy year is going to look like this year. I am praying that we get some poppies, because some years it's wonderful. Some years we have poppies so bright that you can see them from space, you know. Much like a couple years back when we had, gosh, was it 13 atmospheric rivers in California, this area, as well as what was it, Death Valley, had super blooms of the nature that could be seen from the International Space Station. So it's certainly not going to be that this year, but who knows? We'll see. Those are my musings. Let's get back to the art. In working in this 3D sort of canvas concept, I really realized like one of my favorite color duos really is that beautiful vivid orange and the nice light green. I've been very connected to those two colors for a long time, and it just felt so good to put them in here. Good morning. So it's the next day, and you are in my closer mic because there is someone drilling literally right outside the window, so I'm sorry if you hear that. But I did some color working for what I wanted this piece to be, and I realized I do want to make a stamp for her dress, so I can just stamp on the Celtic knotting pattern that I'd like to have on her dress. So I just broke out my stamp printing, like my printing creation box, so I'm going to work on that. And I also finished up the canvas. Here's our lovely oval. I am just fully going into the three-dimensionality of it by putting all of this extra twine to signify the stems of the poppies. Poppies don't vine, they stem, but I like how this looked with all my little poppy pieces. And if I can hold on to these and flip it over, I did glue everything down, but I wanted to have extra strength, so I went ahead and I just knotted everything as well with this really nice cord. So this is my stamping, my printmaking box, and this is the very first print I ever made. I haven't done like a ton of printing with it, but it's just a bunch of little mushrooms, little mushies. So I'm going to put my phone down and use it because it's got the image that I want on it. Oh, these are a little bit stuck together. I have to work on that. But yes, let's get to printmaking. Good morning. Do not ask how many days it has been between the last clip and this clip. It does not matter. We are also on fire now, so I am being as proactive as possible with bags packed and watching over the mountains to see if I need to pack up the cats and things, but we move forward regardless. What I've got today is we have our canvas all nice and set up. I obviously needed to tape these little petals and things so that they wouldn't disappear. Got our beautiful little poppies all set out, and in various like aspects of poppy life. You know, we got the budmost, then the little teeny babies, and then the nice big bright orange blooms. I also made a lovely little stamp with, oh gosh, I should have looked up the name of this knot, and I will just say it after this clip because I'm embarrassed. But I'm going to do the little bit of my, yeah girl, tell me all about it. She's angry because I don't really let her outside anymore because of the bird flu. Because no one cares about the bird flu, but me and all the other cat owners that know that it can go between animals and then into humans. But I digress. I know. Regardless, we're getting back to our piece on Imbolc. All right, it is a quaternary knot. It is a four-stranded knot, Celtic in origin, that is meant to symbolize fire, earth, water, and air. All right, so what is Imbolc? I am here again on mabonhouse.co. Just bless her. I'm just going to read off of her website. So the celebration of Imbolc falls exactly halfway between the winter solstice, which we consider Yule, usually the 21st of December, and the spring equinox, known as Ostara. It's also referred to as Easter. You might have heard of that. This is a time, obviously, when the daylight is starting to increase. You start to smell a warmth in the air. And this is a time of year where, even though I don't have a garden anymore, you would be planting in gardens. You would be looking at what you want to have come for the upcoming year. Imbolc itself means in the belly, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to show Brigitte so full and so bright. Especially just with the thought of, you know, the sun coming to birth the new year. And while the witch's new year is usually considered Samhain, which is Halloween, I still find a lot of like new birth and new life and newness coming from the start of spring. So that's my own, you know, biases coming out. So I think we're done. Let me flip you around because we could be seeing things in a little bit of better perspective. Yeah. Now, I am fully a believer in the fact that some artwork should absolutely be seen in the light of sun, in sunlight, instead of, you know, interior lighting. So let me finish this last little bit, and then we will go out into the windy world and have a final look at this piece, which I am pretty damn proud of. And there we go. And there we had it. Brigitte for Imbolc. Not beating the desert, but the thought of soft green grass and poppies is always wonderful to me. So thank you so much for being here, for celebrating if you do, or even for just sitting around and learning a little something new. I hope you have a beautiful start of spring wherever you are. I hope you're feeling a little bit warmer now that the sun is getting closer to us. And have a beautiful rest of the weekend. I'll talk to you later. Bye.